Obviously, my name is Rodney Briggs, and I've lived in Ames now for the past 11 years. Originally, I'm from Jewell, which is about 25 miles due north, and went to school there, graduated in 97, and in 98 I joined the military, and when I got back from basic training, I moved to Ames, and that would have been the summer of 99. Met my wife a short time after that. We got married in 2000. And her dream was pursuing education, and my dream was pursuing law enforcement. I kind of worked through that process, and I realized kind of what I want out of my career goals back in 2005 when I was hired by the Story County Sheriff's Office as a detention officer with them. And I've been doing that now the past 6 years. My wife was able to obtain her goals and dreams a few years back when she got hired by the Ames Community School District to teach in their elementary schools. And as a family, we have 3 kids. My oldest is going to be turning 8 here next month, which is really exciting. And she started 2nd grade. And then my next is 6 right now, and she has started 1st grade, and then my youngest is going to be 5 in October and just missed the mark, but that extra year is probably going to be a benefit to his well-being, and he'll be in kindergarten next year.
Okay.
I'm still currently serving in the military. I'll be at 13 years come the end of November, and it's my desire at this time to let my contract expire with them. Due to sign a new one if I wish. And I've already kind of expressed the desire to walk away respectfully after 13 years and be a family person and not have to worry about where that next phone call is going to take me and where I'm going to go with that. Currently I am a platoon sergeant with the military, and I'm responsible for the well-being of, if I had a platoon at regular strength, it'd be 43 soldiers. Right now I actually have extra soldiers assigned to me. So I'm responsible for about 50 people, making sure that they know the information that they need to have, they have the equipment that they need to have. If they don't, I help coordinate the equipment or supplies, the resource side of it, to make sure that they get it. And then I'm there to be a chief advisor to the platoon leader to make sure that the decisions they make are sound in judgment and in practice, and to assist the squad leaders that are underneath me in making sure that the training that they execute with the soldiers is adequate to what we need to do.
Have you ever contemplated running for office before, or why did you decide to run for school board this time?
Politics is something that, growing up, I always observed and saw, and it was talked about briefly, but we kind of, as a family, always tabooed away from really getting to the heart of politics. And I guess I always kind of envisioned myself working as a public servant, but not necessarily in a political office. 2 years ago, after I'd gotten back from my 2nd tour of duty in Iraq, my kids started in the school district. And there were some decisions that were being discussed at the time that I had some reservations about, so I started paying a little bit more attention and started to voice some of my concerns more openly. And then I've just kind of followed it ever since, and it really kind of opened me up to, there's another way that I can serve the community that I live in and do it in a more direct facet than what I have in the past via the military or even through the sheriff's office. I love what I've done in those 2 capacities, but to be able to donate my time and know that I'm doing it completely out of a love and a desire to do something, that's what intrigued me with the school board. It's not paid. It's not a partisan office where I have to say, well, these are my ideals and they line up with this party or vice versa. It's me as a member of the community saying, I think this matters and I want to make a difference, and it doesn't matter if I get compensated or not, because it's not about me, it's about the kids and their well-being, and I honestly want them to have the best opportunity in life.
What impact, if any, does your area of residence in the community have on your stances?
Well, I live out in West Ames, and Edwards is the community school that my kids go to right now. And I'm a little heartbroken over the idea that in 5, 10 years, that building will no longer be used. But I also understand that there are needs far beyond that of what me, myself, my family have. And I think it's important when a decision's made to look at the total picture, the big picture is a term that we use in the military. With that regard, I have to make decisions that are to the welfare of my soldiers directly while still trying to accomplish the mission per se at the company level and higher. So I'm used to looking at things from a big picture mentality and saying what's best for me might not be best for the total outcome that we need to attain, and then trying to weigh the options so that hopefully nobody gets slighted by the decisions that are made, that everybody can benefit equally. So looking at it from that perspective, Edwards is a great building. I love the location, but it doesn't meet the demand that the community has right now with where the bulk majority of the housing is. The kids tend to live now. Not that community around Edwards couldn't potentially in 10, 15 years have more kids living in it again near the school where it is now. But from where Ames is built, there's just a lot more growth going on and a lot more probability of kids living in another area. And I think that's why they looked at that Dauntless Miller site that they discussed. And I wish it was closer to where I live, but it makes sense, and I support the decision that they've done there. There's not really a perfect site in West Ames because of the locations that are available. So they've tried to look at it from a different viewpoint and see what best suits that community. And I think they've done a pretty fair job assessing it. Would my living in that part of town make a difference as far as I'm going to focus on them before I focus on others? I don't believe so. My wife, as I said, works in the district, and she works for a different school, so I, of course, have ties to that community as well. I have friends that are longtime friends of my family that live in another school area, and then I've got people that I work with that have kids that are in even other schools. So when I look at it going, it's not about me, and even if I'm trying to look after my own personal interests and those people that are closest to me, I'm still looking at the whole district because everybody I know does live within the entirety of the district.
Can you talk about just kind of your wife's employment in the district and how you feel that would affect your position on the board? Are there certain things you want to recuse yourself from, or?
I think anytime it came down to a direct issue, heaven forbid it would come to it, but let's just say hypothetically something were to happen where my wife were to have to come before the board, I would most certainly pull myself from the decision-making process there. I would probably stay in the room because as her husband, I would want to support her if it's allowed. And if it's something that they wouldn't normally allow the general public to do, I would exit the room. I don't want to have any tie that I have to my wife being a reason for people to say, well, your judgment was clouded. I've got no problem doing that, and I don't foresee it being an issue. But there again, there's always the issue of the contracts. And if it's a generalized contract that's just broad scoped and it's not directly to this person or this position, I don't really see how it makes a difference because it's not really that individual that you're making the decision for. It's all of those individuals. But there again, if there's ever a doubt or there could be a question of that matter, I'm going to take the high road and I'm just going to opt out of it. I believe in integrity, saying what you mean, doing what you mean, and simply put, I'm not going to put myself in that position where I'm potentially liable for making a bad decision. I want to make sure that the choices I make are the correct ones.
On student achievement, are you happy with the district's student achievement record over the past several years?
I am. If you look at Ames historically, they have an excellent student achievement mark. I can't throw out the exact numbers, but they have more National Honor Society members every year that come out of this district than any other district in the state of Iowa, and it's not even a close comparison. And that speaks volumes to the educators in this district and the administrators that support what they're trying to do. That's actually the reason that my wife and I chose this community to make our home. And we wanted the benefit of what it had, but we also believe that we need to keep it going.